I want you to think about the many different times that you have tried to interact with someone with strong narcissistic tendencies, and you walk away thinking, we just don't think alike. Whenever I try to appeal to certain standards or principles, or if I have desires about how we're going to engage with each other, we're not anywhere near being on the same page. Well, when you have individuals who have a very strong narcissistic bent, often you seem to be the one that wants to bring them into a forum of communication and engagement that they're just not prepared for. And it may very well be that you're at a much higher level of relationship skill and they're down at a much lower level. What are you going to do? Well, I want you to understand that indeed there are levels of maturity, there are levels of skill that people have that don't always match pitch. And let me give you a simple illustration on this. Back when you were in grade school, I'm assuming you learned your mathematics and the multiplication tables and how to add and subtract. And so you can engage in mathematics at that level. But then let's suppose someone comes along and they know quantum physics and they're trying to talk with you about that. It's like, hey, I'm over my head. I don't know what to do. Many times when you want to engage in relationships at that much higher level, you're over there talking with the narcissist saying, please join me at this better level of relationship engagement. And it's like, no, I'm down here at the grade school level and that's enough for me. And so what I want to do is I want to show you how there are actually 5 levels of relationship engagement, and we're going to identify where the narcissist tends to be and then where you might want to be going beyond where they are. And then we're going to be talking about how we can come to terms with some of the differences in the skill sets that you bring. For example, level 1 in relationship engagement, we're just going to call the functional level. How many things each day do you have that are just kind of task-oriented that we just have to take care of in a mundane kind of way? I mean, it could be simple things like cleaning up the kitchen, or if you're at work, you have certain things that need to be done so that you can get a job finished there, and we need to take care of it by Friday noon. Or it may be that you have to clean certain things up, or if you're going to meet someone somewhere, you call them up and say, hey, let's meet at 7 o'clock and we're going to ride in your car and go to certain places. These are the functional kinds of things in life, and there are many, many little small things that go into the making at that level. And so that's the most basic level of relationship engagement. Level 2 is what we would refer to as the rules and regulations level. By the way, the functional level kind of corresponds with little bitty children, and you're telling them what to do and then trying to explain things. As the children get older, then they start learning that there are all sorts of matters of duty and obligation and responsibility. And children can learn, okay, there's certain rules and standards that you have to maintain. And so at the rules and regulation level of engagement, we tend to appeal to duty. We tend to appeal to obligation. These are the standards that you have to maintain. And many times at this level 2 form of engagement, we use what I refer to as imperative thinking. Very command-oriented, directive, black and white, do this, don't do this. And there are what I call the imperative words. Have to, must, can't, should, supposed to, ought to, got to, had better. And we talk with each other about what needs to be done and what we'd better do and what we're supposed to do. And when we engage at this rules and regulations level, it tends to set up kind of a hierarchy where there's a pecking order. Somebody's in charge and somebody's a subordinate. Lots of black and white, all or nothing kind of thinking. You have the functional level, then you bring it up to the rules and regulations, and then that's how we can engage with each other in that regard. And you know a lot of people who that's kind of the way they do life. Level 3 takes it up a notch, and it's what I would refer to as the principles and values level of engagement. Now, when we go to that, we go beyond just the functional stuff. We go beyond the should and the supposed to. And when you're at the principles and values stage of relationship engagement, you emphasize the why of behavior. Basically, you realize there are all sorts of things that we need to do, but why do we do the things that we do? And when you're at this level, the skills and the tasks need to be undergirded with perhaps a moral code or various values that you hold dear. For example, it's one thing to say, I want to get my job done correctly. It's another thing to say, I want you to walk away from doing business with me knowing that you've been honored and you've been respected. Or even if it's something as simple as, I want us to have fun together. At the principles and values level, it's like, I want to make sure that my presence in your life is uplifting. And I like being somebody that brings value to your life, and we're able to smile and be with each other. And so when you're at the principles and values stage or level of engagement, it stimulates thoughtfulness. It stimulates consideration. And basically you have a type of purpose that goes into the interaction. And you can see that this is a more adult and higher level of interacting with each other. Now, level 4 of relationship engagement takes it even further. You know, the older you get and the more experiences you have in life, the more you realize there are just some things that don't fit all of the functional or the rules and regulations, and they sometimes even clash with our standards and principles. And so this level 4 is what I refer to as seeking out the other. Now, what I mean by that is as you get older, you can find that there's some people that they make mistakes and they do some things that just don't match with how you do things. Maybe culturally they're coming from a different place, or they just have a different way of reasoning with life. And when you say, I want to seek out the other, it's like, you and I don't match pitch. What is it makes you, you? Now, why do you do things the way you do? And so rather than just saying, I want to fit you into my grooves, it's like, I just want to know you at a much deeper level. And so at level 4 interaction, we put a much stronger emphasis on empathy, on knowing how to connect and being able to accept certain things that just don't necessarily fit with what you would prefer. In other words, for example, if somebody has said or done something and it's like, I don't really like the way that worked out, then let me know, what's going on and how can I know you at that deeper level? And so even in the face of failure or improbabilities or difficulties, at this level 4, when we seek out the other, we go with the notion that says, I just need to know who you are and who I'm dealing with. By the way, narcissists tend not to go this far. And then the level 5 of relationship engagement is what I refer to as immersion. And that takes it even further, where not only do you empathize with where someone is, but you slow down long enough to say, I just want to try as much as I can to get my mind attuned to that other individual. And so you lay down your ego. You want to know people at the deepest level as possible. You want to understand them from the inside out. Now, some people will say, well, does that just mean that you completely lose yourself? And kind of, sort of, but not really. Basically, it means that you actually do know yourself, and you know yourself so well that you feel like you have much to offer other individuals. And so in your confidence, you engage with people in a way that says, I really want to get on the inside of your world, and I want to know you as thoroughly as I can. You deserve the best that I have to offer. Now, when you do this in a reciprocal fashion, it can be very rewarding. Now, when we're dealing with narcissists, you can see that they're going to be able to relate pretty much at level 1 and 2. They relate with respect to what the functions are, and they know what the rules and regulations are. Many times they'll push against your rules and regulations, and they'll say, but here's what I want to do. And so they just kind of stay at that very base form of communication and interaction. And you're saying, well, let's come on up to that principles and value style. Let's talk about the whys. Well, some narcissists, they think they go to level 3, but they tend to fall back pretty quickly to level 2. It's like, I don't need to know why, just do this. And then certainly when you say, let's go to that more empathetic level, let's go to that immersion level, it's like, I don't need to do that. You need to immerse with me. So let's, knowing that we have these 5 different levels of relationship engagement, let's see if we can take away a few thoughts. And that is, first of all, you can see that on the far end of the relationship engagement, your sense of being is much more important and valued than just the doing. It's not that the doing is not important, but we want to know people at that being and that inner level. Understand that narcissists tend not to know how to do that, nor do they care to know about how to do that. So know what your level of skill is going to be, and then also understand what the level of that person in front of you is. And then here's a big one. Don't try to force somebody into a relationship engagement style that they simply cannot or will not do. You can't bring somebody at a level 2 up to a level 4 or 5 if that's not something they're interested in. And so rather than thinking, well, why can't you relate with me in this deeper way? Well, the answer is because they don't. And so you can be somebody that has that higher engagement style, but then you're going to have a certain level of boundaries, realizing, they're going to want to just bring me down to their lower style of living and communicating. And at some point, maybe I'll just have to go there and just know that I'm going to have to share my levels 3, 4, and 5 with someone else. Know who you are, know what you're engaging with, and then you need to appreciate the difference between your style and theirs. And then by all means, as you go deeper and deeper into your skill set, don't let the person with the lower form of engagement dictate who you're going to be. In other words, you don't want to just stay down there and say, I'm just going to argue with you all day long about function and rules and regulations. I'm going to go ahead and be comfortable being me at that more empathetic and that more engaged style of interaction. If you can't join me, that's where you are. I accept that as my truth, and I'm going to have to decide how far I'm going to be willing to go in engaging with you. And you're not going to have that tight of a relationship with someone who can't go very deeply with you. But as you understand that there are these separate distinctions, then at least when you show yourself to be unique compared to that narcissist, you're going to know I'm just at a different place and this person is not going to join me. I get it. And so make your plans accordingly. I do hope that you get some value from videos such as this, and I'm hoping this kind of gives you an idea of how you can manage yourself in a more complete way as you engage with these narcissistic individuals who want to pull you down. If you've not done so, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep you apprised of more videos as they come along. We also have a link to our email list that would give you access to bonus videos and articles and promotions. If you have a need for online counseling, it may be that you don't have counselors there where you are that might be able to help you through some of these issues. We have a link for some online counseling, and I've gotten good feedback with people who have been helped from that. We also have links to my books and my online workshops, and we even have coffee mugs. Just know that I'm wanting you to have the highest level of engagement that you can. And when you encounter people that can't go there, I want you to learn to stay in your lane and keep your healthiness going in the right direction. Gus slipped through another one here. Gus says, I'll go over my notes with him later on. All of that said, I will see you next time. I wish you peace.